Hello guys, it's Tamara here, Creative Futures Coach and a licensed psychologist. And even though I uploaded a different video for this week, I was actually motivated by one of the clients and her very interesting question to film a different video for this week and tell you guys a little bit about myself and why I do what I do, how I became a psychologist first and then a law of assumption coach, and what's even a point of coaching, right? From both perspectives, me as somebody who is aware and a practitioner of a law of assumption, and somebody who is just getting into it, okay? So my journey started a long time ago. When I was a kid, I always liked helping people, whether it was, with studies, helping my parents with chores. I just found joy in helping people that I like, and helping people whom I thought needed help, right? So I always knew I was going to become a professional in some kind of like humanitarian field. I didn't know what exactly that was at the time. And actually, I got my first BA degree in linguistics because I wanted to be a teacher. And I was a teacher for a long time. I used to teach at a university in my city, in my country. And then I started craving for more. By the way, when I was a kid, my parents got divorced, and that really traumatized me because their separation was really messy. And I'm not going to go into any details, but let's just say, as you probably can imagine, that instilled some pretty bad self-concept. And my state at a time, as well as my perception of people, relationship, especially romantic relationship, was very different from where I am today. And I did therapy as a teenager as well. And I thought, okay, I love helping people. I am really interested in human psyche. And I want to learn more. I want to help myself and then, others as well. So I got my second BA in psychology, and I was studying in Vienna at a time, as probably some of you may already know. I was away from home and living all, by myself for the first time in 20 plus years. I was scared and alone, and I started getting these severe panic attacks. And although from scientific point of view, I knew exactly what was happening to me and I knew how to handle it, I started having some strange, I want to say spiritual, supernatural experiences, something that science and, psychology at a time could not explain to me. And I think I shared, one of the first videos I shared with you guys was about revision. How I was supposed to go and meet my ex-classmates at a reunion. And there was this girl that I had, problem with. She was a bully when we were all in high school. And I just wanted to have a really nice time. And I wanted the people that I love to have a nice time too. So I naturally, now I know that it's called revision, but I naturally chose to remember that during our high school days, this person was exceptionally kind. And that we were all, great friends, had a great relationship. And that we parted our, ways peacefully in a friendly manner. So if you want to watch this video, it's called Revision. It's the second video I did with Amanda on this channel. So go back to the video if you want to hear the whole story. But a couple of weeks forward, what happened was this person reached out, the girl, the bully, ex-bully, reached out to me out of nowhere after 15 plus years. And she was like, hey, how are you? I thought of you and I wanted to have a chat. And then on the same day, another friend from high school, whom I hadn't talked to in years, also messaged me. And I was like, there is no way that these two people that I chose to see in my vision, in my memory that I tweaked, message me on the exact same day with similar wording and asking me, how I was, what was up, asking to see me, acting like nothing had ever happened. I just didn't believe that that was possible. So that led me to law of attraction first, and then eventually to Joseph Murphy and Neville Goddard. After reading the first 5 lectures by Neville Goddard, I was like, this is it. This is what completed my journey and my studies when it comes to, our psyche, our mind, how things happen to us, what a state is, or identity, as we call it in psychology. I was like, this is it. This is, by the way, in psychology, there are, for example, Carl Jung was one of the fathers of the modern psychology who knew, he actually told us, that people unknowingly repeat the same pattern over and over again and eventually face the same bad circumstances, and they call it fate. So he kind of knew that there is no fate, no like God as we know it, right? That there is something in our mind. Neville Goddard explained it very well eventually, right? There is something that we can manipulate, we can choose ourselves in order to see our 3D in a different way and therefore experience different set of circumstances and different versions of people as well as ourselves. That there is no I, right? There's just pure consciousness and different states or identities that you can occupy to see the world and experience it in numerous ways, right? So I really I dug deep into Neville Goddard's work as well as Joseph Murphy's, Dispenza's as well. There are tons of people. Eckhart. It really all depends on whether you like people who are more spiritual, more abstract, or somebody who is very direct and practical, like Murphy, for example. So I really read tons of different authors and books on the topic, and I immediately started putting this into practice. And I was like, okay, let's test this out. I know this makes sense now, how I was able to revise and experience different version of my high school friends. Let's test this out. So at a time, I had experienced a very bad breakup with my SB at a time. And I thought, okay, this is a great way to test this out. Let's see if I can work on changing my state. Because the thing here is, guys, I know this is a kind of subject that's becoming popular these days. And I don't follow other, coaches, other channels much, except for the people that I know and that I'm friends with. And I don't know what other people may talk about, but I do know there is a lot of misinformation out there that can get people trapped and even more confused. And I don't want our viewers to feel like that. So I'm just telling you now, please be careful who you listen to, who you watch. Make sure you check, who these people are, where they come from, like what's their background, whether they know what they're talking about or not, whether they are consistent with their stories, with the information they give you, or they're not. I'm not here to, deter anybody from checking other people's channels or nothing like that, truly. I just have, every time I have a coaching session with somebody and a client tells me, well, I heard, or this person told me this or that, and I can get why the clients got very confused and stuck, right? So lower the amount of, different channels you like to watch. Like, stick with a couple of people that you feel like you resonate with and that you feel like they know what they're talking about, and work on you, on your state, okay? So back to my story with my SP. At the time, I, of course, just like you guys, I watched tons of different videos and I thought, okay, I'm just gonna try out this technique and this technique. At a time, it was 55 times 5, I remember. It was like writing, I guess, affirmations, right? 55 times, 5 days in a row. And then, the point was you were told you were going to manifest different version of your SP. And I did that. I did that consistently for all those 5 days. And what happened was one big nothing. Nothing, not even a text, nothing. I was frustrated, of course, and I was like, why? What's happening? I was, I did everything right, correctly. Why didn't anything happen with my SP? Like, what is this? Like, is this a lie? And then after a couple of days, I was like, okay, I'm gonna drop, all these different videos and people. Let's go back to what I knew before, how I did my revision in the first place. I didn't revise to make something happen out there. I revised because I personally wanted to see my ex-high school friend in a particular way. I did this to make me happy, not to make other people happy or to make something happen out there on a purpose. I basically changed my perception, my state, and therefore my perception. And I was like, okay, as long as I am trying to make something happen with the SP, it's probably never going to happen because I haven't done anything to change who I was at a time, nor my perception of the relationships, of the SP at a time, and who I was in that relationship. So going back to the basics, I started working on my self-concept. And when I say self-concept, guys, that is also something that a lot of people get confused about. Self-concept can be about you. For example, if you are in a state of, let's say, identity of a person who is not worthy and not loved. And that is truly your self-talk day to day. Then yes, your identity shift will primarily focus on you becoming a person who is loved and worthy of love or, proper romantic relationship. Let's put it like that. But self-concept is also how you see anything and anybody in your 3D. So your self-concept is, for example, guys never text first. I'm going to use this stupid example. That is your self-concept as well. So when I say change, when I tell my clients or you guys, our viewers, change your self-concept, and self-concept is a must, it's the key. We mean everything. Your consciousness, that is your self-concept. Where self-talk, who you are being, what is your story, not only about you, but also about other people and your relation to them, okay? All of that together is your self-concept because it is part of your awareness. It is what you accepted as truth for you. So, I knew what I had to do. I started working. By the way, guys, I didn't mention this before. Everybody who was on this journey at some point did have coaching, and in my case, even therapy as a teen, as I mentioned. It's not bad to ask for help, and it doesn't make you feel less talented for this, and it doesn't make other people better at this. Some people prefer having help or guidance in a human form on their journey, and there's nothing wrong with that. So back to my story. I worked on my identity and my self-concept first, and I asked myself who I wanted to be, who I needed to be in order to, get this wonderful relationship that I wanted with this person. And I'm not gonna lie, it took me a while. Just like you, probably some of you, at the beginning of your journey, we all have this urge, this crazy urge to go out and look at a 3D and expect some kind of proof out there. And this only, I'm not gonna say slows you down, but it is gonna get you in and out of state a lot. And I know this is, this was in my case the hardest thing to do. Disregarding the 3D completely and working on trusting what I knew was true for myself. So it took me a while, as I said, I think maybe 4 to 5 months. Nothing was happening. Nothing. Zero. But I trusted. I was like, whether or not something happens in a 3D, I know that I'm now becoming a person who is worthy of such and such relationship. And 4 months forward, by the way, the technique that I used was self-talk, and I had a tiny inner conversation with my SP's mom, in which I heard her tell me that she's so happy we're back together, and she thought we were a wonderful couple. I heard that, I accepted this, and I moved on. I did have, again, moments of doubt, moments of questioning myself, whether I still want this person or I want this relationship. And I said, listen, Tamara, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're doing this for yourself, primarily for yourself, and to test, to see where you are, how much you have understood everything you learned in psychology, as well as, Neville and other law of assumption authors. How much you were able to connect all of this. Does this even make sense, guys? I hope it does. So I did get together with this SB at the end, and it was really rewarding for me. But the most rewarding part was I no longer had panic attacks. I didn't feel depressed and totally hopeless when it came to people and relationship in general. So back to where I am now, which is 10 plus years later, I had a very interesting question, as I said in a session the other day, and my client asked me, so Tamara, what do you do once you reach a certain level where you know everything is your projection, and you can choose to experience anything you want to? And then another client asked, Tamara, why are you doing this? You're talented, and obviously know about the law of assumption. If I were you, if I was at that level, I would just sit on a beach and do nothing all the time. And I get it, guys. I get that. There was time when I thought, oh, yippee. So I guess this means I don't have to do anything anymore in my life. I manifested money out of thin air, and I will share a story about that too. But the truth is, deep down, that is not who I am. I am somebody who loves to work, who loves helping people, as I highlighted before, and who loves learning new things, learning from people every single day. It may sound tempting to sit on a beach and do nothing forever. It wouldn't be rewarding. I'm not saying that there are not people who indeed desire this kind of lifestyle and this would genuinely make them happy. In my case, that would truly make me feel bored and unfulfilled. And I do periodically go to the beach and sit down and do nothing, and I plan to do that this coming August. But this is not something that I want to do long term. As I said, I didn't study at 3 different schools because I couldn't get a job in education, or I thought, the previous degree was useless. Not at all. I had a very successful career, even in education. And I am still very successful now as a therapist. It was never about money. It was always about my personal desire. So guys, your desires stem from your state, who you are. Nobody can tell you what you should and shouldn't desire. That is totally up to you. So I guess to wrap it up, what I'm going to say is ask yourselves who you want to be and go for it. Don't settle for anything less. Don't sell yourselves short. Trust in the process and trust in your I am to get you wherever you need to be. And I promise you will be successful. I hope you enjoyed this little personal story that I had for you guys today. Next week, I'm going to share the part 2 of the success story that I filmed originally. And I hope you guys found this educational. By the way, I am currently running a sale, 25% off. And the coupon code is PREFER20. If you can't do it by yourself for whatever reason, please reach out to Brandy and she'll book a session for you, okay? Thank you for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Bye.